Let's talk about an inverse function. The first thing we need to understand, and that's a very important point, is when a function is invertible. Because if it's not, then you obviously cannot find the inverse. A very typical example of a function that satisfies what we call a vertical line test. In other words, any vertical line will intersect the graph at only one point, right? So just imagine that I'm drawing a vertical line and there's only one intersection, and that happens everywhere, right? The intersection point would be like right here. However, when you are talking about inverse functions, they switch input and output. So instead of x, I give you x, you give me y, now it's backwards. You give me y, I give you x, right? The problem with functions that what we call not one-to-one, that sometimes you do not know which x to return. So if you look at the graph of x squared, you can see that, let me draw what's called a horizontal line, and this is going to be what we're going to be using, it's called horizontal line test, to determine if a function is one-to-one. So what would be a problem to find in the inverse of x squared? Well, given a certain y value, like y equals 4, how many x values correspond to that? So we can see that there are two intersection points. There's this one right here, and then there's this one right here. If you switch x and y, for a given y, you now need to return only one x. You cannot return multiple ones. But here, for y equals 4, you actually see that there are two x values. There is this one, -2, and then there is also this one, +2. And if I give you 4, how can you know which one of those to give you back? Is it going to be 2 or -2? So one-to-one functions have to satisfy what we called a horizontal line test. What that means is if you draw a horizontal line, it must intersect the graph at only one point. Otherwise, the function is not what we call invertible. But to find the inverse, if it is invertible, all you have to do is switch the input and output. So for example, if I know that f of 1 is equal 8, then what is going to be the inverse of 8? Well, that's just going to be 1. So we are switching x and y here.